like on the viewfinder, and he would say "cut."
Yes.
That's also when you knew. Okay, we got it.
Yeah,
we can move on.
Got it. That's
right. Oh, that cut is a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, if it's if it's long, it's good.
No, if it's like, and cut.
No,
like,
you're gonna have to do it
we're
again.
gonna do at least 5 more takes of that. And cut.
We got it.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Celebrity Expert, your #1 source for all things TV shows and celebrities. While you guys watch this amazing behind the scenes and interview moments of the cast from Rebel Moon, I'm going to talk about some of the key highlights we have been hearing from sources about the movie Rebel Moon.
He's incredible. He's right here. Don't say anything. No, I'm joking. But he's truly the best. He brought so much to me, and the fact that he believed in me the way he did touched me so much. And he's someone who is truly an enthusiast and loves movies and movie making so much. And he only elevates and enhances everyone's talent so much around him.
Before we begin with this video, here's a quick and an easy question for you all. Can you all tell us when the movie Rebel Moon has released? If you know the right answer, let us know in the comment section down below, or stick to the end of the video, which is when I'm going to reveal the answer to this question.
I was so excited to talk to Zack about it that I realized once we hung up that I hadn't let him say one word. I just told him who I thought Kai was, and he went,
You explained Kai.
And then I stopped talking, and he went, well, you clearly understand this, and so we would love you to play the character. That was that.
Zack Snyder's venture into the epic space opera genre, Rebel Moon Part 1: A Child of Fire, has received negative reviews. The movie released on December 21st, and it had an amazing cast. But what were the reasons that the critics did not like the movie?
I didn't know that he was going to be so hands-on, and I loved it. You know, he was often also really operating the camera, so he was right there with us.
Yeah.
Creates a very intimate dynamic.
One of the things about filmmaking which is so exciting and unique is just how different every filmmaker's process is.
The premise of the film is set in a universe dominated by the corrupt government of the Mother World. And along with that, a former member of the 𝗃𝗶𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀 Redemption takes on the daunting task of recruiting warriors from across the galaxy to stand against the oppressive regime before it turns to the planet.
Between Zack and the studio, it feels like it's absolutely Zack's. And you know, I think it's really true to be able to have, it's such a privilege to be able to go and make tell original stories on this scale, in that Zack wasn't precious, the studio wasn't precious. It was a really sort of exciting and free-form process.
The film has scored a less than stellar 24% rating on Rotten Tomatoes based on 42 reviews. The critical consensus reads, Rebel Moon Part 1: A Child of Fire proves Zack Snyder has not lost his visual flair, but eye candy isn't enough to offset a storyline made up of various sci-fi fantasy tropes.
Shooting this movie with Zack, he's not only directing it, he's also the cinematographer, and oftentimes operating the camera. So whereas sometimes it can feel like a director is a bit further away, you know, in Video Village, he was often like literally holding the camera next to us with like super crazy wide lenses and really on top of you.
The filmmaker has wanted to create his own space saga for years and has even proposed the project to Lucasfilm. He found a willing collaborator in Netflix who produced a film that turns out to be a derivative of Akira and George.
I had met Zack in 2005. He'd offered me a role in 300, but I was working on something else, so I couldn't do it, and just really enjoyed his sort of spirit and what a pure artist he clearly is and was even back then. And so it's just really exciting, engaging process working with him as a director. What's really noteworthy is just the fact that he had been developing this for 30 years.
The director of 300, Watchmen and Iron Man, among other films, has often been referred to as visionary by his fans and is determined to participate in the Star Wars universe, having even presented an ambitious additional movie for the saga to Lucasfilm.
What's wonderful about Zack and what's meticulous about Zack is he renders all these kind of worlds and draws them out himself prior to even the DOP, which he was as well, getting involved. This was, you know, so we And you can never prepare yourself for seeing it in real life, high definition, moving, but he gave us kind of impressions and quite detailed impressions of what all the worlds were like. Wow, this is unbelievable, but I think what was even more impressive was seeing how well he recreated these renderings.
Rejected a decade ago by George Company shortly after it was bought by Disney, wound up becoming its own franchise and a pair of films for Netflix. Its first chapter is called Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire, and it makes clear Lucas and Associates' reason for passing on the project.
And Zack offered me 300 at the same time, but I was already committed to doing Children of Men, and it was, you know, a chance to come back to the UK and shoot. So I did that, but I've been watching Zack for years, and you know, just thinking he was, you know, truly a real artist and so sincere about the work he does. I think sometimes that, you know, because he works in a very big scope, sometimes that kind of gets lost, and honestly I think it got lost a little bit.
Snyder succeeded in founding a carcass that was already founded. With a Star Wars movie that has already been done, it's a double heist, because it was not enough to copy fundamental aspects of Star Wars' first trilogy. Along the way, he also robbed from in his day, although in a much more original manner.
Walking into Zack's world, and he had built so much before we even got there. So I remember my first meeting with him, we walked into a room that was about this size, and it was just wall-to-wall sketches and storyboards. He also had an iPad filled with the worlds and what they were going to look like. So it was just mind-blowing, really. I mean, every day was so exciting. There was always more to learn about any single detail.
At least Lucas looked to the characters and plot of a minor and, at the time, fairly unknown Kurosawa venture to create the story of that galaxy far, far away. The hidden fortress, the samurais become Jedis, Princess Yuki becomes Princess Lee, and coupled with Lucas's never-before-seen visual imagery, the rest is history.
You know, Zack didn't want any of the fluffy edges. He didn't write it with any soft edges. You know, this is like, we're really going to show you what the enemy looks like. And we're not going to make this like TV friendly, you know, even in the PG-13, it's like, it's brutal.
And that's the beauty of Zack's cut, is that and there are Easter eggs about those elements in the PG-13.
Snyder plagiarizes nothing less than The Seven Samurai. The central story of Rebel Moon is identical to the Japanese masterpiece, of which there have been several official remakes and a few undercover ones like Pixar's Bugs, in which a framing of community receives a violent visit.
And what was it about Zack's script that made you want to take on this role?
Well, I feel like my character stands out of the crowd in a way that he's a bit different from many of the others in the ensemble, because he's not one of the warriors. He's much more like relatable in that sense.
To conclude, overall the characters are one-dimensional as Korra travels from planet to planet recruiting badass but interchangeable volunteers. One major character development occurs with little build-up and no real understanding of motivation.
Obviously, Ray, you've worked with Zack before. What was it like being back kind of together again?
It's great to be back in the saddle, like sincerely, and it's an honor to be a part of something that is an original IP,
Yes.
And something that is his brainchild. And it's actually an honor that, you know, I'm sure I can speak for all of us, that, you know, he would trust us to inhabit these characters that have lived with him for so long.
Alright guys, that's it for today's video, and the answer to the question I asked you all at the beginning of the video is December 21st, 2023. If you got this answer right, then you are a huge fan of this movie, or maybe Zack Snyder.
That's when he begins to explain me how we've met and worked together, and again, just that was just unbelievable to meet somebody that long, over 3 decades now.
Alright guys, we'll see you around next time with another brand new video. Till then, keep watching The Celebrity Expert. Bye guys.